1370 AM, 96.3 FM, The Source.
All right. Do you know where we were on New Year's Eve day? We were at Animal Kingdom.
Yes, we were.
And we had a fast pass. We had a fast pass for a few of those things, but we did not have one for the most popular one because I guess they didn't have any more fast passes.
Oh, yeah, the Avatar. They were like gone.
Yeah. And how long was the line?
4.5 hours.
4.5 hours.
Yeah.
Holy mackerel. Well, obviously, Travel Girl got to go on the ride. Stephanie Oswald is on the phone. We've had Stephanie on before. She is the Travel Girl. And I do have a picture of her with two other pretty young ladies. It looks like they went on an Avatar. I wonder how long they stood in line, huh?
Yeah.
Stood in line. That's the word, stood, right? Hey.
We didn't stand in line at all. You're right.
What? How did you get away with not standing in line?
Well, can you see the cover of the magazine? All they did too. When you shoot the cover of your magazine at Pandora, then they don't make you wait in line. It's a really nice perk.
That's what. So what they do? So how long was the line if you were a normal person?
Well, it's true. I have seen it go up to 3 hours, but I believe the morning, if you get there right away, it could be between 30 minutes, an hour.
Oh
it's worth it. It's so worth it. Oh my gosh, that ride is so incredible.
Stephanie, where are you? Where are you calling from?
New Orleans.
New Orleans. Oh, that's right. You're in New Orleans. And your publicist, Alicia, we met Alicia. We had coffee, and then what did we have? We had grilled cheese sandwiches.
And deviled eggs. Everything was great.
We were in New York City. Have you ever had coffee?
She's fabulous.
Have you ever had dinner or lunch or something with Alicia?
I have.
Did you go to this place right by Columbus Circle with those big naked statues inside? No, you don't remember that? See, it's not.
We like to go to the Steak Shack, and there's an Italian place, Italy.
Well, next time you talk to Alicia, tell her that I said that I was the model for one of those statues, because I was the model for one of those statues, the male one.
Into the place with the naked statues. I'm going to have to talk to her about that.
So, how have you been?
I've been great. It's how is it already about to be March? This is insane.
I love it. Right.
How is it March?
Do you know, in my younger days, when my son was a child, I should say, we would always go on a summer trip someplace, and we always started planning it in March. So March was my planning month, and then June, July, August, whatever, was our actual travel month.
Okay, well, that's probably pretty good. But you know what? This time of year is when it's still kind of yucky in so many places. And, they say March comes in like a lion and goes out like a lamb. And that's because of that yucky weather that we get rid of. And then we have all this mild, pleasant stuff to get us into spring. But this is a great time to head to the beaches or go for a tropical vacation. And there are some really good deals out there. So, if you don't want to wait in line at Pandora.
Well, wait a minute. I heard that you could pay somebody to wait in line for you. Have you ever heard this?
No, I haven't. But I will say here in New Orleans, we pay people to camp out overnight on the parade route so that we get a good spot during Mardi Gras. So I believe it could happen.
Really? Have you ever done that? Have you ever paid somebody?
I personally have not. However, I have really good friends who we kind of rotate, and every year there's different places we go, but there's one group that they always say, well, we'll go out early and pitch our tent. And, there is something to be said for being out there before everybody else and, have your Bloody Mary or your smart water and just kind of relax and watch the crowds come in.
Exactly.
There was one thing about the Mardi Gras this year, the golden coconut. I had never heard of the golden coconut before.
Mm-hmm.
From Zulu?
I don't know. From one of the parade, what do you call it, cruise? One of the floats?
Yeah, the Zulu parades. I'm looking right now. I have 2 golden coconuts on my mantle.
Wow.
Zulu always throws out. Well, again, it helps if you have a cameraman behind you and a television microphone in your hand. The crews are very nice to you. They hand you coconuts.
Oh, I got you. Okay. Yeah. Otherwise, they throw them off the float, right?
Well, actually, now here's the thing. You got to remember, they do. They're called throws, but the reality is, when it comes to items like the coconuts from Zulu or the shoes from Muses, those are handed. A lot of classes, they'll hand them over to someone because they don't want them to break. They spend a lot of time and effort. Nick throws purses. So really, you want to get up close and personal with the crews and walk alongside. Sometimes you've got a sign. But, yeah, they actually hand the best throws to you personally because they don't want them to break.
But let me ask you this. If I actually wanted to visit New Orleans, for example, is Mardi Gras a good time? It seems like it'd be so crowded I wouldn't really get to experience the city.
Oh, it is a fabulous time. I'm going to tell you a funny story. So my mom had some friends coming down. They were driving from New York to Texas, and they didn't realize it was Mardi Gras. People think Mardi Gras is one day, but, we've talked about this. Mardi Gras it starts early January and goes all the way until Ash Wednesday. It is over a month long, and we have parades all the time. But especially during the last 10 days, there are just, it's several parades every day in different locations. So my mom had these friends coming down, and she said, they're going to drive through New Orleans. They're going to be there on the Friday before Mardi Gras. I told them they should drive down St. Charles Avenue and have dinner at Vincent's Restaurant. And I started laughing. I said, Mom, that'd be great, except St. Charles is going to be closed off because it's Mardi Gras. It's carnival season, and the biggest parades are going to be coming down the street. So I said, tell them to just drive to my house, and then we'll take them in, and we're going to go to a parade.
Oh,
and she said, they're not going to want to go to a parade. They're 75 years old. I said, Mom, they're going to want to go to a parade. It's so fun.
Well,
and it's a wonderful time.
Do you know what I love about what you're saying? It's something I've said all along. That there's two ways there's three ways to see a city you don't know. One is to have somebody there like yourself in New Orleans. Another one is to get like one of those hired tour companies, which I'm okay with, but I'd rather have a friend. And the third one is to just go blind, which is the worst way, to just go blind, I think. What do you think? Just to go without any knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, you'll have a better time and you'll have more opportunities if you do some research. I mean, I am a fan of spontaneous vacations, so if the choice is sit at home for the weekend or take off and do your research, one person drives, the other person Googles, that can happen too. Uh-huh. And you can get very lucky if you go with maybe either a hotel chain that or, some kind of have a little bit of knowledge, at least a little bit of knowledge before you head into the great wide open. But, yeah, I mean, spontaneity can lead to some of the best trips, but if it's an event like Mardi Gras or a bucket list event like Kentucky Derby or Jazz Fest or the National Cherry Blossom Festival or Rodeo in Houston, you don't want to just do that blind. You want to make some plans before you go.
Oh, you talk about indulging a little, but also eating healthy. I mean, I have to go one route or the other. I can't compromise. How do you do that?
You can, Robin, you can compromise. Well, one of the things you can do, bring your own snacks when you're going to be going on vacation and you're worried about budget, even having your own coffee and wine or breakfast items. If you're staying in an accommodation that has a refrigerator and a microwave, those are easy ways to cut back, save some money. Also, indulge. This is the thing. Make a plan. If you're coming to New Orleans, you know that you want to go to a specific high-end restaurant like Antoine's or Commander's Palace. Make sure that you don't eat a lot of other things that day, or balance it out with, okay, I'm going to have a muffalata, which is our famous meat, cheese, olive salad sandwich that you can get at Central Grocery or Verde Mart. I mean, a lot of places in town are going to have it. Or a cup of gumbo. Like, just have something light earlier in the day and make sure that some of your days are filled with, like, little bits and pieces of light eating, not just, the grandiose, over the top.
You have a picture on your website of Myrtle Beach. I haven't been there in a long time. Tell me about Myrtle Beach.
I've never been.
Oh, Myrtle Beach you guys, you need to go to Myrtle Beach, and this is a great time. It's one of my favorite destinations. They have so much going on, and it's actually another foodie destination, Robin. So
I like food.
Robin.
Well, they are just bursting at the seams. All kinds of new restaurants are opening. They have a new walking restaurant district called Barefoot Landing in North Myrtle Beach. Jimmy Buffett's sister, Lucy, is opening a restaurant, Lulu's, there. But they also have some amazing fine dining, just incredible restaurants. Sam Lapper Grill, Tin Roof, which is going to have live music, Water Tree Cafe, just all kinds of really great food areas, which people don't think, okay, they think Myrtle Beach, I'm going to go to the beach, which there are 60 miles of gorgeous coastline, but this place is really taking off as a culinary scene, and they even have some other fun things too, like a food truck festival, April 20th and 21st, where you can get craft beer and wine. They're going to have kids' activities, but it's also, just putting a spotlight on a trend like the food trucks. Even things like that. When you can go to a destination and take part in something that kind of gives you a little you feel like a local because you're taking part in something that it doesn't happen every single weekend, and you might not know about it unless you do your research online too, and then go into those websites.
That sounds like fun. Whenever I go to a food truck event, and there's all food trucks, you realize that all this food, and you think, I really can only benefit, partake in one of them. You have to really be picky. Which one do I want? It's not like a buffet where you can get a little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Well, that's why you make sure that, you get one thing, and then whoever you're traveling with gets something else, and somebody else gets something else.
Oh, I get you, and you share. See,
right.
I never thought of doing it that way.
Oh, you also talk about taking vitamins and protecting your skin.
Yes, well, it's really important. We talked about spontaneity, which is great, but there's something also when it comes to spiritual wellness and just maintaining your zen when you're on vacation. It's important that whatever routines you have at home that you use for keeping your sanity and your good health, bring them with you on vacation. So don't forget your vitamins. Maybe even bring some airborne or vitamin C extra with you, because sometimes when we travel, we put ourselves in situations where
I love airborne.
like the plane, the airports. So you want to make sure you do that. If you do yoga when you're at home or go running, you don't have to stop doing that when you're on vacation. And you might even get something really cool. Like we have yoga in a sculpture garden here in New Orleans, or at the Cabildo, which is
nice. Cabildo.
What's it called?
The Cabildo. It's right next to
with a B.
Yeah.
It's a funny connection right now. That's all I got to say.
And there's also, like in Myrtle Beach, you can do yoga on a stand-up paddleboard. Again, going to those tourism board websites.
Wait a minute.
Find out.
What do you mean yoga on a stand-up paddleboard? You're standing up, floating, and you're doing yoga?
Yes, you can.
I guess I don't know what yoga is. I guess
it does take a lot of work, but again, putting something new, a new spin on an old, on a tried and true tradition that you might use at home. Even going for a run.
I've never done yoga. Well, I did yoga one time. I was much younger. The girl was really attractive, and she convinced me to do it. And I remember the word Om, O-M. And she said, say,
yes.
Om. And I was saying, my God, I hope this works. My God.
Oh, you talk about packing a first aid kit also. That's something I like to do.
Well, it's really important, and I also say this time of year, do your spring cleaning when it comes to travel. So this is a good time before you head out on that road trip to go in your glove box, throw away anything that is outdated, go into your travel toiletry kit, throw away those outdated vitamins or anything expired, any kind of medication that's expired. Because you want to have stuff with you. If you need Pepto-Bismol or Imodium when you're on vacation, you don't want to pick up something that's expired. So put fresh stuff in your bag. Also, make sure that your luggage tags are current. So, having your business card in there from 3 jobs ago is not going to help you if your bag...
Did you hear the story this morning, Stephanie? This guy was at the airport here in Orlando, right? He was going up to Newark. They went through his baggage. They found all these fraudulent credit cards.
Yep.
And then they didn't get him. He got on the plane and went to Newark. How is it possible that they were checking his baggage and he got past them?
And a credit card skimming device also they found.
okay, you know what? They will find him. They may not have gotten him today, but they will. They will find him.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I hate to hear those stories because, there's more. I firmly believe there's more good people out there in the world than there are bad. But unfortunately, when we hear about these bad apples,
That's right. I know.
When I go places or my mom goes places, we like to do everything that's there. And you caution people about not getting enough sleep.
Well, okay. I like to do everything too, but we have to remember quality over quantity. And if you are just making yourself crazy, you're not going to be refreshed after your vacation. So, unless you are in college and it's your spring break, for most of us,
Right.
you want to make sure that you can schedule get enough sleep. And you know what? It doesn't have to be like at night. You can take a nap in the afternoon in your hammock at your private sanctuary in the Caribbean. You can
Nice.
go out on the deck on your cruise and just kind of relax and take a little nap in the afternoon. Or if you get up in the morning and watch the sunrise at the beach, turn yourself in for a little late afternoon. Nap after happy hour.
They say the way to a man's heart is through his stomach. I think it's through this kind of talk. I love the idea of doing what you're saying. How come I don't do this stuff more often?
I know. The beach is down the road.
We live near the beach. We really live near the beach. Do you know one of the things that I discovered late, I guess, in life, you might say, is the Gulf Coast beaches. You're in New Orleans, so you're very familiar with them. But I was, for some reason, a snob.
Oh, yeah.
I was a snob because in Florida, anyway, the East Coast was always the younger, hipper stuff, and the West Coast was always like the retirees. Well, now I'm getting older and I'm fitting in better.
No, we are lucky because I'm here from New Orleans. I can drive. Destin's amazing, but Bay St. Louis is a sweet little town. Ocean Springs is gorgeous. And see, that's another thing, too. You can come down here to New Orleans, experience some of our tricentennial, and then head out along the beach for a couple days. And, little towns like Ocean Springs is a really sweet place that has all kinds of artists. And, I think that's what's really fun, too, when you can kind of take your time and meander along the way and maybe pop into an art gallery and meet an artist that you've never heard of before, or, like I said, be there for some kind of a festival or event that maybe you didn't know about, but here you just happen to be there. And I'll tell you what, if you're in New Orleans
I have a food question for you about New Orleans. A food question. Ready? Is there a food that is better in New Orleans than anywhere else in the world?
Crawfish, absolutely. I had my first crawfish last night. First crawfish for the season, and we have the best crawfish boils in the world. There's something local if you want to come down
boil?
here.
For the first time you ever had it was last night.
No. First time for this season.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So
the season just started again.
So if I got crawfish in New York City, it wouldn't be as good, right?
No, definitely not.
You recommend indulging in a natural mud bath. What is the natural mud bath?
So there are some places that have these incredible mud baths, and I was lucky to experience this beautiful place in St. Lucia, Serenity at Coconut Bay, and we did a little escape, and it was to these natural sulfur springs and mud baths, and it was just, literally, it's volcanic activity that happens up on the mountain, and then down below, there are all these heated streams, and one of them has a little area where you can go and you get into this tub full of ashes, and then you get out and your guide and your friends, whoever you're traveling with, you cover your skin with this natural mud.
Oh my gosh.
And it's just, you let it kind of dry up.
Yeah.
And then we had this guide with us, Chevy. His name was Chevy, and he was so awesome.
Oh my God.
He kind of
Come on. I know what he's going for.
No, it wasn't like that at all.
Yeah.
It was so cool that it looked like people from the Lion King cast. It was just incredible. And then
Oh my
skin
God.
feels so soft
I can hear it in
afterwards.
your voice. Chevy was a hot-looking guy, wasn't he? That was a yes. That laugh was a yes. I can read laughs. So yeah, if Larry had the mud bath,
Maybe there's a Chevette.
I met this guy, Larry, and he wanted to take me to this mud bath. I said, get away from me.
No. Oh, but there are some beautiful places where you can go and get that natural,
Chevy.
Sometimes you want to go to the spa, but sometimes you want to go to Mother Nature's spa.
That's right, the Mother Nature
That wasn't
spa.
even his real name, Chevy. Come on. His name was Bob.
He likes Chevy Chase. That's all.
That's
there
it.
is to
Chevy. Sounds better than Bob.
You also recommend hiking as one of the best workouts that you experience.
Oh yes, hiking. I mean, anywhere you go, hiking is going to be just because that's when you discover some of these off the beaten places too. I mean, it doesn't have to be like hiking up a mountain. You could be hiking through Brook Green Gardens in Myrtle Beach and seeing turtles laying their eggs. I mean, that's going to be a natural experience right there. You could be hiking up into the road to Hana in Hawaii and seeing different waterfalls along the way, or something on the West Coast, going through some of the national parks. I mean, take the hikes that not everyone in the world is going to. There's the famous loop in Smoky Mountains National Park, which is gorgeous, and you have to see it. When you go to Yosemite and go along Bridal Veil Falls, there's a route.
But I hiked up the subway steps in New York. Does that count?
No, but I'm going to tell you something. Even in the cities, forget the national parks, even in cities like New York City, did you guys do the High Line?
Yes.
When you were there?
Yes. In Chelsea. We did the High Line, yes.
Wasn't that incredible?
It was all right. I mean, it was like the ground up higher.
A different way. Okay, I shouldn't say. It gave you a different feeling for New York. For New York. And
yeah, no, it did. I did like it. I'll be honest with you. Yeah.
And what you're telling us too, this is a marvelous way. Just let yourself go and get rid of all the stress in your life by going out and having fun.
Yes, and living in the present and putting yourself in a different setting. I mean, here we can go on hikes that lead us down. I walk on the levee as I won't say every day, but
wait a minute. You said Chevy and levee in the same conversation.
Chevy with a B, not Chevy.
Bevy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, now I know it's made up.
I thought she liked American Pie by Don McLean. I thought, those two words appear.
So wait a minute. I want to know why the travel girl never travels to Ocala to come visit us in our studio.
You know what? I need to do that. I'm going to put it on my list. I do, because I would have so much fun visiting you guys.
If you come here, we will travel with you to Silver Springs. We will hike with you to the river.
Yes.
It's about a mile. It's only a mile long, right? Yeah.
You'll love it.
You will love the water here. The water is so beautiful to swim in, I mean.
Yes.
Drinking
and to drink. You can drink.
Nah, drinking is the same as everywhere. Okay. Stephanie, you're always fun. Thank you for taking time to be with us. What's the website? I know it, but I want to hear you say it.
Okay. Well, we've got all kinds. Well, I'll start with mine, which is Travel Girl Inc., travelgirlinc.com, because that's where you want to go to download our digital issue and find out all kinds of things. If you want to find out what's going on in New Orleans for the Tricentennial, it's 2018NOLA.com. If you want to find out about all those fun things, the foodie happenings, visit myrtlebeach.com in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. And if you want to check out what's going on in the Caribbean, it's onecaribbean.org. That's the Caribbean Tourism Organization.
Nice.
And if you want to get to the front of the line at Pandora, you have to pretend you're Stephanie Oswald. Just put a wig on and say, "Yeah, I put you on the. I'm on the cover of my magazine." Then you get Then you get to the front. Stephanie, thank you. Have a great summer. Hopefully, we'll speak to you before the end of the summer.
So much fun. I hope so as well. And I wanted to tell you, this weekend we're having wiener dog races in New Orleans.
Oh, nice.
Really?
That'll be fun. Wiener dog races. Bring your own dog.
You gotta see the game the Harley Davidson girls do with wieners. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think she'd appreciate that. Only in Ocala.
Stephanie, thank you. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. This is WOCA.
Fox News Radio, I'm Chris Foster. It's the first day back in class for kids at the high school in Parkland, Florida, where 17 people were shot and killed 2 weeks ago.
I'm nervous, but I'm just happy to see everyone come together and support each other. And I just think we all need to get back into normalcy.
They'll be let out before noon all this week. President Trump goes after his attorney general on Twitter, calling it disgraceful that Jeff Sessions is using the Justice Department's independent inspector general and NARC department lawyers to investigate surveillance abuse. The president accuses Inspector General Michael Horowitz of being an Obama guy. Sessions said yesterday,
We believe the Department of Justice must adhere to the highest standards in the